Just to remind everybody, ladies and gentlemen, that today is August the 30th, and I'm here recording with a very, very good friend of mine, Father Mike Ernesto Medina, and we're holding an ongoing chat here, which will be split up into two parts. This is part two. So, Father Medina, go ahead and proceed where we were at with regard to, you said some magic words, and I need you to repeat those words.
We were talking about, under the concept that I think that was important for the initial articulation in the Chicano movement and any movement that happened in this country, of folks that were marginalized. We need to organize ourselves so that we may speak truth to power. And then I had shared with you the suggestion that when we look at the leadership in Omaha, that Latinos are fully integrated into the leadership of this community, educationally, medically, financially, civically, arts. I mean, it's all there. So the challenge that we have when we hear speak truth to power, while oftentimes that's to ourselves, right? But there is something, the word that my mom would always use, chocante, don't be chocante, that sometimes if we've made it, if we're comfortable, then it appears that we lose our identity and then become complacent to the rules of what you call the monolith. When in actuality, there are some opportunities and I would name it as privileges. One of them is that we have to tell the truth that for years, what you call the monolith, whatever that is, I look at it in terms of systems, has told our community, we're going to give you money, but you have to fight among yourselves to see who gets it. That's not appropriate.
But it's the plan.
It's the plan, right? Because then we keep out of their way.
Their way, and we end up fighting ourselves.
Like that. And so it worked very successful for them. That's one thing. The other part is I come from Los Angeles, who I love. I mean, I come from Southern California. It's where I was born, San Diego. But one of the reasons that I love Omaha so much is that there are things that I was successfully brainwashed with in the public school system about the value of being an American. So things like the handshake, right? It still means something here. Mm-hmm. There is still a connection with the earth,
right,
that California, that people from Los Angeles or from New York have forgotten. We've forgotten on the coast what it is to not be in control. I mean, the farmers and the ranchers know they're not in control. They're stewards of what they're given. So these are kind of things that are the values of Midwest. Omaha, you asked me about the future, has the potential with our leadership, Latino leadership. I can't speak for other communities. But to show the rest of the country what it is to maintain your individuality, your identity, and the benefit of becoming community on a greater scale. We have cross-cultural competency in ways that do not exist in the rest of this country. And it will have economic benefit. I mean, let's just talk monolith language. It will have economic benefit, and it will be good for us to figure this out. What is it that we do? What is it that we're doing so well that allows Latino leadership to be fully incorporated and to share that with the rest of the country? Because I think that's a positive way. Now, you had asked me a question earlier about this balance between maintaining our identity and then becoming part of the American thing. So I'm going to do some church stuff. Okay, you're going to love this. Politically incorrect. If somebody comes to my church, young couple, and they want to get married, 30% of the time they're going to say, "Oh, Father Medina, we want to do a unity candle." And then I have to take a breath. And I say, "Well, if you want to have a unity candle, that's fine. But let me just tell you a little bit about it, and then maybe you'll change your mind." So the unity candle is like a Hallmark, invention. So it has this big candle, and there's two candles on the side. And so after they're married, the couple goes up, or somebody goes up, and they have these two lit candles, and they light together the big candle. And then comes the sin. They blow out the little candles. It's like, that is not marriage. The reason your marriage is going to be so strong is because you are two individual people that are going to work to figure it out. So part of the balance in terms of us claiming our American, because no one can take that away from me, right? Nobody, is the fact that I'm still Mexicano. My heart beats Mexican blood. And there are things in my DNA, and I hope we can go here, that are gifts that would actually benefit whoever it is that defines himself as American. That's the gift of the Mexican. I can only speak from the Mexican perspective, but I suspect that it's going to be true for the Panamanian, for the Salvadorian, for the Argentinian. I mean, I suspect for the Cuban, for the Puerto Rican. I just don't know what those are. I have some ideas. But I can speak from the Mexican perspective of what, just like we get the great sense of Celtic earth spirituality from the Irish, the respective elders from the Asian communities. I mean, so every community comes in, so we remember that core, and that becomes part of the beautiful dance of being an American.
Very good. That's wonderful. Now, because you're right, and that awareness is so critical, and it's supposed to instruct us in terms of how we proceed with whatever power we have. You being a priest and also the chairman of the board of this great organization. Now, I've always said that as long as you have white supremacy, and that's what the battle is right now, is that we can't have what you're asking for. And that is an awareness of our uniqueness, because there's always something hanging over us.
Right.
And so we have to be able to, as a society, and like that's what you're doing now, you're impacting society vis-a-vis its educational system, vis-a-vis its cultural system, and what have you. And it's manifesting itself in this great 100% graduation rate. Fantastic. But you're right. I think that there's been a group of leaders in our community, and Omaha's always been special in my mind, and as I've traveled the world, and how we do have a very special people, and that are willing to talk and and to cooperate, but the natural evolution of the Mexicano has taken place vis-a-vis or whatever, and the identity, the self-identity part, has got to be part of the pride of being an American. So, being an American of Mexican descent, we have to be able to draw from that lineage, but we can't do it as long as it's been lost in the monolith. And so, therefore, we're going to be challenged to how do we do that? How do we manifest that within the power that we have within our own orbit? Am I making sense to you?
I do. You're going to laugh at my answer, but
Okay.
we really are going to get in trouble, Ronaldo. There is a parable. I'm going to go churchy here. There is a parable that Jesus shared about it's called, the title I think is The Shrewd Steward, the Shrewd Servant. And it's more, let me just paraphrase it, but the for whatever reason, the steward is able to trick his master, and he can take advantage of it. He takes advantage of the opportunity, right? And he ends up in a good place. I heard a sermon by by a person that I think represents the monolith in your mind. He was my boss in LA when I was first ordained. And he was saying, and he said, essentially in a sermon, sometimes you get an opportunity and you may not have deserved it or earned it or whatever, but you give it to God and you just say screw him, and you do what you can. So a lot of my life, I have been given the opportunity, responsibility, because I'm brown and I don't speak with an accent. I guess like California accent. But
Well, that's why you bounce off the walls here.
that's why, yeah,
That's why they got you separate.
yeah. and you know, if they're gonna be that, you know, shallow about it, screw them all. I'll take the power, and I'll use it. So that's one. That's my. You know, sometimes we just do that because you know
That's
we
what
do
Jesus
that. We
was.
just do
Jesus
that.
did. He
Yeah.
was a radical.
The other part of it is I think we have to come to terms with that we can't save the world. We can't, but we can affect. We are stewards of what we can affect. So I'm very comfortable and satisfied in changing the life of one teenager. There's some truth telling that we need to be aware of, like what I shared before. We really need to just say together, come to an agreement. We're not going to fight among ourselves for money. It's not helpful.
Oh, that's it.
There are other
right up
things.
front.
Yeah. You know, board meetings at the Latino Center, you know, I've gone to trainings. There's all kinds of training opportunities. And so I've been trained how to run a proper board meeting. But it's, and 80% of it is fine. It's helpful. You know, we can do an agenda, we can follow it, we get a lot done. But what they don't tell you is have a meal afterwards and laugh with each other. That's who we are. So that's what we do. You know, I cannot, we have to
La
be
cena.
La cena, where the real conversations happen.
La comida.
Yeah.
Right?
I can't trust somebody unless I know about their children. These are things that are what I feel from my DNA. You know, here we are in your beautiful home, and the first thing that happened when I came in is everyone here greeted me, because that's what we do. These are all rules, and so those are the kind of things that we just need to keep doing, and not let the other rules tell us that we can't be like
We're in
that.
control of our own destiny here. Yeah.
Yeah. So I wish there was a magic answer, but that's as real as I can get about it.
Well, no, I think that you're relating from really deep in your soul and the heart and your belief system. But you're here for a reason. I mean, you are here for a reason, and that I believe. I believe that the Lord sent you here. Whether or not He sent me here, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I'm 72 years old, going to be 72. But now, that instructs me. It instructs me in the sense that, can you be out there in these board meetings? Can you be out there and all that? And I say no. I can only pass on to you my whatever it is that my opinion vis-a-vis this medium, which is a godsend. It really is. So in my trajectory upward, with a political trajectory, okay, and taking that component of society, and that's our political component, and how much political power we have, and realizing that there's this strata that keeps you down, and it's reflected in the voting patterns and stuff, that we need to break free. We need to create our own,
Right.
and that's why, and I always hoped that the Latino Forum would feel that need, or that even the Chicano Awareness Center could be a base for that operation, but never to cross that line.
Right.
That you would be like the how do you say it? It's where you go meet and you invite all these other people and you create these, because the idea here is to organize your political power, and whether or not it's brown, white, black, or whatever, you invite everybody to the table, because we're not being invited to the table for some reason. Maybe it's what you say, we got this choque, or whatever. But at some point, we have to develop strategies. Hello, Megan. Hi, Debbie. We have to develop strategies where we see that as a focus and implement the plan. Now, I can't do it. With all due respect, I do not have the energy, and who knows how long I have to live, but I don't have that energy But we have the talent. We have exactly what you said. We have the assimilation of our professional youngsters, whatever color they are, to manifest this political power and get out from under, this terrible two-party system that we have. So I don't know if that's making any sense to you.
It does. So here's a couple things. I want to share with you a truth that is not pretty. I can attest to you that Latino Center of the Midlands currently does advocacy. It's just different. Okay. I'm frustrated because that's my blood too. Boy, I'm well trained in L.A. I could put me at city council. I used to go and lobby at the House of Representatives. Do you know I was the chaplain at the House for a day? Had that honor
here
at the House of Representatives, Washington D.C.
Oh,
Washington D.C. That was like put brown person up there in that place.
When
it
was
good.
this?
Oh, in 2003, something like that.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
it was one of the great honors of my life. Want to make sure I got my thought here. Advocacy. I think it was the late 1990s or early 70s when there was a real conversation about, in the early 2000s, sorry. Real conversation, at least, about immigration reform, comprehensive immigration reform. I forget the person that was putting in his name began with an S, and I should know this better, but that's what I have. And I remember the center. I saw pictures of this, and I saw stories of this. The center went full board advocacy, public leading, organizing. And I don't know what happened in Aldo. It's like, at least the way that I hear the story, it feels to me like the power structure found that so threatening that they came in with a definitive blow and scared the agency and scared the board.
That's right.
Yeah.
No, but may I
Please,
say?
yeah.
That's one of the that's the sort of Damocles that I talk about. Is that when you are a 501c3 and you are bound by all of these, see, your fear was to lose your money and run out of business.
Right.
You can't have it. You cannot have a service organization be politically active. That's just it. So I don't see the center in that light as a political advocacy unit. It isn't. It's not even a put down. But I would see the center as a base of operation where that you would provide support, whatever it is. Like I've always said that the Latino Center or the Latino Commission was designed to do outreach work and to organize communities. And the staff was supposed to go out into the community and provide the resources, whatever they be, computer, put up a meeting hall or whatever, bring your community together. That was their mission. But they got too political, and it almost killed them. They went down to nothing. So I can understand it, and the School of Hard Knocks has gotten me to that conclusion that none of our, with all due respect, none of our 501c3 organizations, I don't care who they are, can never be completely advocacy because you're always under the sword of Damocles. So you do need an independent structure that's made up of all these individuals like yourself, but can speak in political terms or think tank terms or whatever, and then go recruit and use the resources to do that.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense.
It does. And I go back to what I think is the first step. We need to stop fighting among each other, which is a prophetic stance that says we don't need to play by the other person's rules anymore. And then at that point, we need to figure out, again, here's my recent history with the Destino dinner. The amount of talent there was profound. And we need to build our skill set on how to discern those who have the leadership capability and foundation and continue, especially for very young people, continue to support their educational structure so that we empower them to have a voice, so that it's normal for them to run for city council.
Yes.
It's normal for them to run for mayor. It's normal for them to run for state senate.
Right.
I mean, and that's I think that's built upon relationship, because one of the things that I've discovered is that there is a clash.
Hey, Ray.
Like I said to you before, my mom did not want me going off to school. Why would I? Because it's still there, right? And we're gonna have to help young people.
Break off.
I'm gonna break off, and it is against rules. Can I tell you this story? This is one of the great things. So I was in LA. My daughter Elizabeth applied to go to Iowa State on October 1st. First day of college application. She was a senior in high school. She wanted to be a fashion design major, and she applied. On the 7th of October, she received a letter that accepted her. So now she's accepted to Iowa State. 3 days later, we received a letter saying, Elizabeth, we are going to pay your entire college 4 years. Okay. I called my mother and I said, Mom, you won't believe what happened, right? And I said, Elizabeth has been accepted. She's received a full scholarship. And my mother said, and I love my mother, so I know I'm about to break all kinds of rules. My mother said, why are you letting your daughter go away so far? And it pushed that button when they told me I couldn't go to Stanford. And I was so angry, I didn't tell my mom that I took it out on my parish. So that Sunday I came, and I was mad at them too, because you had these kids that were doing great in high school, and their parents were not letting their kids apply for college. They were not filling out FAFSAs.
La cultura.
It just was like that. So the other thing you need to know is, as the priest of that church, I was expected, out of a fund that I had, to get every child a present. Okay, so, and one year I got them dictionaries and thesauruses, and I got in trouble from the parents because I was giving them, a thinking tool, something like real. So too many kids. I was giving quinceañeras to these talented girls, and then 2 years later, I was baptizing their baby. I'm going, this is crazy. This is not okay, So, I got a little time to tell. I'm going to tell this story. So, because I was mad,
Let me tell you, even though we're going to end this segment, we're going to keep going.
Okay.
And start another segment.
All right. So, because I was really ticked off, I told the story to my congregation. I said, this is what happened. I'm thrilled. You are thrilled for my daughter. You know her. But all due respect to my mother, she's wrong. And then I looked at them and I said, all due respect to you, you're wrong. I'm tired of doing your quinceañeras for your daughters and then baptizing babies 2 years later. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. So here's what's going to happen. I'm the priest. I don't ever play this. You know me or not. I don't play the priest card. But I did that day. I said, all of you expect me to give your kids a present. So here's what's going to happen. Every one of you is going to give me $200. Okay? You have 1 month to come up with it. And I'm going to take every middle school child of this parish to Washington, D.C., because I want them to meet the Latino caucus of Congress. Any questions? They were crying because they knew I had said something that was true. And at that Christmas, when it came, it's midnight service and we're singing all the songs, we gave every child middle school an airplane ticket to Washington, D.C. We met with the Latino staffers, both the Senate and the House of Representatives, who had never talked to each other. And every one of them told the story about that. They had to disrespect their parents to be to get their college education. And because they were Latino, the various, places, they felt an obligation to give back to their community, which is why they were working for the Senate or for the House. That made an impact to my kids.
Well, you provided good guidance. I
Right.
mean,
But
and
this
it was
is
instinctive.
and we're going to have to figure that out, right? I mean, it's just kind of one of those rules. There's a judgment call, but education here in this country is important,
Critical.
or to follow your passion. Anyways,
No. Where are we at, Michael? Okay, we're just going to go ahead and go right through it, Michael, and you cut it off at 27, and it's to restart. What I'm going to say now is the reality of our professionalism and the assimilation that's taken place within our community of extremely talented, educated resources, human resources that happen to be Latino. So, but they along the line have been a product of the monolith. Okay.
right.
Now,
I am too. I mean,
no,
yeah,
but
yeah.
that's
I mean,
it
no,
takes education.
It's the truth. I mean, it's just the
Right.
truth. Yeah.
It takes education, though, in order to extract that theory without creating a lot of issues. Okay. So when you arrive at the conclusion, like I arrived at the conclusion, who said if you build it, they will come? So I don't know who was it.
Somebody famous.
Somebody says if you build it. No, that was a guy from Iowa who built that corn in the baseball thing in the cornfield. If you build it, they will come. Well, my perception is that if you understand the power of this organization that they have no concept about in terms of what you're talking about, extracting for a political purpose. I'm just talking about get the vote out purpose. That's it, nothing else.
Right.
Is and work towards that, whatever that is, from an all-inclusive perspective. It's been my experience that they have not come to understand my concept. So, and it could be real easy to take 10 people and start an organization. So you're building that concept, that organization, and then they will come. But nobody builds that organization. Nobody builds at least the conceptual structure of what I'm talking about. So that if these individuals see value, if they see value in joining a concept like that, that they will come. Is you can't go over there and grab them and say, it's part of your duty, you know, as a Latino to do this. No. You just have to take off, just like we did with the center, create a concept, and boom, let the community take over. And then it's gone through these many stages. I don't know if that makes sense to you.
Well,